Pakistan International Airlines is the most controversial airline in the world.
And I've flown PIA since before I can even remember. Within 2 weeks of being born, I was on one of their planes, so this is personal for me.
Well, I've never flown PIA, but almost 6 years ago, the UK, the US and Europe all banned PIA from their airspace over significant safety concerns.
Which raises the uncomfortable question, is PIA one of the worst airlines in the world, or is it just deeply misunderstood? After a fatal crash in 2020 and a pilot licensing scandal, Pakistan International Airlines was banned from flying to Europe and the UK altogether. Investigations revealed dozens of pilots holding questionable or invalid licenses, a devastating blow to trust. For the South Asian diaspora, it meant longer journeys, more layovers, and more distance between families, weddings, funerals, and home. But this airline wasn't always this way. Long before Gulf carriers dominated global aviation, PIA was considered one of Asia's most respected airlines, known for its pilot training and long-haul expertise. So much so that when a young airline called Emirates launched in 1985, it leaned on PIA for training and operational support, a reminder that one of the world's most powerful airlines was built in part with Pakistani aviation expertise. But history doesn't guarantee the future. While other airlines invested and expanded, PIA stagnated. Weighed down by delays, political interference, and mismanagement, what was once the pride of Pakistan slowly became a punchline. Families who relied on PIA to see relatives back home switched to Middle Eastern carriers. And then came the ban.
In July 2025, the UK lifted the ban on Pakistani Airlines, allowing PIA to return to the UK skies.
And that brings us here today on this flight from Islamabad to Manchester, a flight that hasn't existed in years.
So here's the plan. Step one, we're going to fly long haul for 9 hours on a 22-year-old PIA 777 for the full experience.
Step 2, test out economy versus executive economy.
And step 3, work out if this airline really does deserve its terrible reputation. You lot are going to love this. I will be flying economy on this flight, and it's possibly the one I've been the most nervous for ever.
And today, I'll be flying executive economy. So are they really that bad?
Let's go find out.
Here we are in Islamabad's International Airport, about to hop right into PIA. I am nervous. This is a flight in an airline that's so personal to me. Woo! Let's see how it goes.
I love flying, yeah, and for whatever reason, I just have a bit of nerves around this one. It's obviously a dodgy airline. They were banned. It's my first time in Pakistan. It's my first time flying PIA. It's first for everything. Let's see what it's like.
Okay, already there's a little bit of chaos. What are you thinking, Nick?
Busy.
It's the personal space for me. A bit closer.
Okay, so I've made it to PIA's International Lounge, and it looks so cute. This lounge is pretty large. It doesn't seem like it's too crowded. I will say that they didn't have the most options. Maybe they have made-to-order items, but I don't have the time to check those out. So I grabbed a little bit of the samosas, the chicken roll, and this chicken tender. This is a good respite from all the queues and lines we just went through. What was really funny is when we went to immigration, I was like, is this the business class line for passport control? And the guy behind me was like, chalega, har cheez chalta hai idhar. Meaning just go into whatever line you want, even though it's marked foreign passport or marked something else. Chaos.
Well, one thing I will say is compared to other airports in this region, it's very chill. And I've got nowhere to go, nothing I can do, but it's quiet, it's clean. Can't ask for much more than that.
As someone who's from here, has roots here, it would just be so nice to have so much pride in the international airline. I just really want them to turn things around.
We're about to hop on this 20-year-old 777. I'm going to be living in luxury and executive economy, but it really does beg the question, is executive economy business class, or is it just a premium economy? I wish my lovely Nicky luck on this journey.
A semi-chaotic but semi-calm airport experience. We are now about to board this aircraft to check out the economy cabin. Is this really gonna be bad? Well, here we are on board this PIA 777-200 in economy. It's busy on here. The cabin is arranged in a 3-3-3 configuration. Actually, I'd say the seats feel kind of wide. There's enough leg room, but the seat pocket in front of me is kind of dangly, so it's knocking into my knees whenever I put anything in there. Cabin looks incredibly dated. It's browns and greens. It's kind of dirty. It looks a bit sad. It looks a bit frayed around the edges. It's not a disaster. It's not filthy. I've seen worse, but it's not great. Every seat has IFE screens, but they are not working. I don't know whether they're going to come on at some point, but there are screens right at the front of the cabin. In the armrest, there is a little entertainment panel. No idea whether that works. There are no headphones. There's nothing on offer in order to make it work. There's a tray table, the usual size. That's usually a good test of whether something's dirty. And actually, my tray table seems clean enough. And I have tried to recline my seat. It seems to go back a little bit by pressing the button, but I can't quite get it to move. It moves a little bit. The headrest does have these adjustable wings though, so if you want to get some rest, I guess you could rest your head against them. The seat itself, a little bit hard, but relatively comfy. The cabin is full and it feels full.
Khawateen Hazarat, welcome aboard Pakistani International Airlines 777-200ER in their executive economy cabin. I'm seated in seat 3A, and let's just say my first impressions of this cabin is that it is a 22-year-old plane, and you can tell. There are plenty of stains and markings across the board, so that is expected. It's reminiscent of my time in Air India on their 777. The issue is that this seat does feel a little sticky. There's a lot of wear and tear involved, and I just wish I could, deep clean the heck out of it.
This cabin is configured in a 2-3-2 configuration, which doesn't give every single seat direct aisle access. When it comes to the width of a seat, this does feel a little more like a business class seat.
This is technically their business class, even though they call it executive economy. I think they knew what they were doing though, because this feels a bit more premium economy than it does business class. There is an IFE screen in front of me, but it looks like it's not working. No one seems to be bothered by the fact that it doesn't need to turn on. And this is a 9-hour flight. There is a control panel right here to use it. Oh God, I just looked underneath and there's a lot of crumbs. 2 out of the 7 buttons are working, and that's okay. So let's test out the recline. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty comfortable. Definitely better than a premium economy seat. This recline is really good, and behind me there's a reading light. And it works. And there's a headphone jack. Will they give us headphones? I'm not sure. I will say there's a lot of things on this seat that don't really have value. Like, for example, this little buddy right here. Like, what does it do? What would have been great is for that to be one of the charging ports for the phone, because that's like a really good spot. And there's like some random pockets as well that don't really make sense where they are. Also, when it comes to privacy, because the layout of this cabin is a 2-3-2 configuration, you don't have any sort of divider between you and your seat neighbor. So when you are lying flat, you are lying with the person next to you. So definitely, if you want more privacy, this wouldn't be your flight. One other thing I noticed is that there's a little bit of a leg rest here, but everything's kind of rusty. You can tell it's kind of falling apart though, fortunately. Okay, so this tray table here isn't as stable. It kind of has a curve in it, and it is a little bit diagonal, a little rusty. It's hard to put back. Oh, there it is. Cool, I think I did it. Maybe not.
Okay, we just took off. One thing I'll give in PIA's favour, if you feel like I've been a bit neggy so far, is that we left on time and we're probably going to land in Manchester early, so count that as a win.
With the rise of private airlines like Flying Blue, Serene Air, and Air Seal, PIA is being forced to actually follow the rules, step up the game, and be timely. And they achieved that in this flight. We left about 10 minutes after the departure time was scheduled. Good job, PIA. You didn't fly on Desi Standard Time.
Just a couple of amenities to speak about, a blanket and a pillow. Blanket feels like kind of thick and weird. Pillow is fine. Fluffy? No.
The final thing is obviously the amenities. This seat comes with a nice little pillow. It's not the fluffiest, I would say. And it comes with a blanket. Here it is. A nice blue blanket. It has a PIA symbol attached to it. Very good. There it is. I can't wait to take a nap. Hopefully that's what I'll be doing because there's no IFE.
I was interested to see what these toilets were like on a 22-year-old 777. Actually, I must say, they don't smell bad, they don't look bad, not too dirty, definitely seen worse.
The bathroom in the executive economy cabin could have been cleaner, but it wasn't a disaster. There was some toilet paper on the floor and some half-stocked amenities like lotion and a mist.
So they brought out the appetizers. There were no actual menu cards, so you get what you get. First thing that came out was the salad. It's pretty good. And then they offered this other roll as well. It's so pretty. That's the first thing I noticed with this bread roll. That is really gorgeous. Okay, that's some sweet bread. A nice little glass for your drinks. They offered a variety of Pepsi, 7-Up, other sodas, and then it comes nicely wrapped. That crouton was good. I was expecting it to be harder, but it was actually a soft crouton. In terms of speed of service, we took off around 12:30. It's now 1:30, so an hour after takeoff, we're being fed, which I think is pretty good standard for international flights. I wouldn't say it's anything special so far or per se, but right now the portion size is solid.
Okay, here we go. Lunchtime on board. I went for the chicken and the rice. It's with like a kind of dal, add some raita. It's a similar kind of meal you might expect on a short haul flight in Asia, but it looks pretty good. It's hot. Chicken is pretty tender, rice is nice, everything's warm, dal is nice, it's spicy, it's got a good kick and a piece of chili in there as well. You're not going to find a starter here, there's no little salad, you're just in with the main. It does look a little bit small for an 8-hour flight, but it passes the taste test. PIA is a dry airline, so no alcohol on board, but I've gone for a Diet 7-Up because the only diet drink that they had. Served from the trolley, served from the I Love Manchester trolley, which I love.
I'm just coming off a review of the Emirates A350. There's a stark difference in the way they actually present and give the food to their customers. Yes, I have this plated right now, but they actually plated it in front of me. So it wasn't really a menu card per se, but it was them going around with this tray of all the food that they had, and then they just poured it on your plate, kind of like a family style. So they're really sticking to this family style situation here at PIA, and it's just so different than Emirates A350. Here the curtains are peeled and you do see behind the scenes of how they're giving you the food. To me, that kind of hurts them when it comes to presentation, because when I'm being plated food in business class, you don't really see any of the mess that comes with taking the food out of their trays or whatnot. I will have to say the flavors are on point. The chicken is good, but it's full. It's a little full. There's a kick to each different item. Actually, I would say the fish is probably my least favorite thing. It feels like a one-day-old fried fish that was reheated.
For dessert, some kind of nutty, condensed, milky kind of pudding. I'm not sure what it's called. Maybe you'll tell me in the comments. It tastes a bit like a rice pudding. It's actually pretty nice.
It's time for dessert. The options they had presented were a cheesecake and a sheer korma, which is a Pakistani local dessert. But I'm going to try out this cheesecake. I think this is like a coffee cheesecake. It has a little bit of espresso flavoring in it. Interesting.
Being a dry airline doesn't matter. Soft drinks is fine, but this steaming hot cup of tea, did have to use powdered milk, but I'm a judgy guy when it comes to a cuppa, and this is a decent cuppa.
I love me a good chai every now and then. That chai tastes so good. Holy moly, chai in the air. Amazing. The fact that on this route, Islamabad to Manchester, you can see the beautiful scenery outside. They're breathtaking. It's like taking a very private helicopter ride for $1,000, maybe more. And then people, look at this view.
Okay, I have some additional information on the entertainment situation because they've just announced that you can connect to a Wi-Fi system, which I've just done. And actually, there are quite a few movies and TV shows on there, decent movies. So if you've got a device, you can connect and watch something, even if the screens are broken. So it's better than nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for the PIA Core Bell Challenge. Let's go. Well, I'm afraid there's only so we can give that one this time. It's a fail.
This cobalt challenge was a fail. Sorry to say, PIA, you lost that challenge. Okay, they've dimmed the lights, so it seems like they're prepping the entire cabin for rest, which is going to be great, so I'm gonna give it a shot. But I will say, in this time when I'm taking a little bit of a nap on a long flight, I do love to get my things charged, but it seems like there are no charging ports available. I just see a headphone jack, and I didn't see anything below my seat as well, so if you are flying this route, if you are flying PIA, just make sure you have all the things charged.
We're beginning our descent to Manchester, and it's time to give you the roundup of this flight. Overall, I would say the reputation is worse than the reality. The plane is old, kind of falling apart. The seats are tatty. They could do with a new aircraft, or at least ripping out everything else in here and starting again. The food was very run-of-the-mill, but it was served quick, pretty tasty, and definitely should have been more plentiful for a flight this long. Safety-wise, I don't see any concerns. But then again, it was the pilots that were in trouble. But at least down the back, there's nothing that makes you think this is dodgy or something could go wrong. And while the crew were a little bit frosty, the passengers were fantastic. I chatted to so many people, more than I ever would on another flight. They were super interested in my thoughts on the airline and my thoughts on Pakistan. Everyone was incredibly welcoming. So is PIA as bad as they say? Probably not. Are you going to love the flight? Probably not. If it were me, I'd be sticking to one of the Middle East carriers if I was heading to Pakistan.
My uncle and my family members would always tell me how PIA used to be the pride of its game back in the day.
My uncle was a pilot during one of the most turbulent periods in South Asian history. The partition of the subcontinent, millions of people were moving between three nations, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. This airline wasn't transporting passengers, it was moving families to safety. Without him and without this airline, I wouldn't be here today. So does the executive economy mean premium or just a step up than economy? I think it's somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not business. It definitely is more so on the premium economy side of things. I would say in executive economy, I'm getting a little bit more comfort, and the meals that I was eating were actually not that bad. The seat itself was surprisingly more comfortable than I was expecting. The only issue is that they're sticky, and cleanliness doesn't seem like an important part of this flight. I also was able to sleep around 2 to 3 hours, maybe longer, on this lie flat bed. A really negative portion of this flight is that the IV screen didn't work. Would I recommend this flight to others? If you want to get from point A to point B, this flight can be one that you take. I would say though that if you want comfort, luxury, and a premium experience, do not take this flight. If they were given a little love in investment, PIA could go somewhere. So I'm intrigued to see what is going to happen once money is actually put into the pockets of this airline. There's obviously a large customer base here. This flight is entirely full, so people are still going to be taking this route from Islamabad to Manchester, especially because you don't have to have a layover in Doha or Dubai via Qatar, Emirates, or Etihad. Also, it's cheaper than most airlines, so there's a reason why this flight continues to sell. This has been my experience on PIA's 777-200ER with PIA's return to the UK. I want to know, are you going to fly this airline?